Hello everyone! Welcome back to The Addicted Bookworm, where my addiction's all over the internet. On this channel I do book hauls, book reviews, both digital and physical media, audiobooks, and so much more. Alright, so I have an announcement to make. I am taking a huge break after the pile of books I've got up there from fantasy. I'm taking a huge break from fantasy. The reason for this is quite simple, that I want to get more, I want to read more and more and more horror, and definitely continue to do more and more cozy mysteries in general, things like that. So one of the biggest things that I have been noticing as of late is that it is not every fantasy author that's like this, but it is some of them that are like this. They're creepy, they're weird, they're whatever. I don't even have names for it. So I am going to be getting more involved in horror and in, of course, cozy mysteries, as I've mentioned. So, I am going to be, I'm going to be basically talking about horror. I am going to, basically, when I do a horror review, I am going to essentially make one video that's going to go on both channels. So that way, subscribers that are not subscribed to this channel can still get their content and all that. So, for people that don't know, there are two books that I read this week. Was Madhouse. I don't remember the title. Sorry, I don't remember the author's name, but he's from Venezuela. It's about this 9-year-old kid who ends up being kidnapped by this supposedly kind lady and shackled to an abandoned house, because nobody in their right mind would ever think there's somebody living in an abandoned house being shackled. That book was like, okay. Then I finished reading Ghost Camera by Tracy Coates. This one was unexpected in so many ways. Literally, I was at Barnes & Noble, and I went to their horror section because I was going to buy some horror books. I did buy a couple, and then I bought some other genres. And I verbally said a question, like, I wonder how good Tracy Coates is. Was not expecting the lady next to me to answer me. She said to me, "Oh, she's a good author. She writes some good stuff. But don't expect Stephen King." I go, okay. She's a light horror writer. And turns out she isn't. I literally went to bed, and I made sure that my light was still on. It was insanity. Then I'm reading 101 short stories written by 101 authors. And I thought at first this was going to be a horror book, but it's not. It is actually a multi-genre book. So I read 54th Street, which was about this guy. It was classified as horror. About this guy who gets bitten by another guy, a homeless guy. So he has to go and get testing done. There is this disease that's going around making people do stuff. And what happens is, on his way back home, he just, he's like, he's going to try to eat a steak. Doesn't do nothing, turns out he doesn't want it. He comes back, sees this guy literally eating this other guy, and he decides to dine on the guy as well. And the other one is about a woman who's a painter. There's some references to Vincent van Gogh. It is a historical fiction short story. These short stories take about 3 minutes to read. Extremely short story and everything. I am next week. I will be reading my first Simon St. James book. So I will be reading that, and the week after next, I will pick up another Tracy Coates book. So most of the books, most of the horror books, most of the horror books are going to be on my Nook. I am going to be abusing the heck out of this thing from now until the end. Sorry, from now until like 2028. So I'm really going to dive into some horror, and I'm going to do a lot of I'm just going to show you the book, and then when I get to the end of the book, if it is not a short story one, then I will just do the review when I'm done with the book. So yes, the books I have here, the books up there, once I'm done reading them, I'm going to be taking a gigantic break from fantasy. I just want to get away from authors that people have said are problematic. The weird thing about horror is you do not really see people attacking horrors, or especially attacking horror authors who write it. It seems like it is only limited to fantasy and some science fiction. Also, you don't really have people like right-wing commentators commenting on horror. They just comment on fantasy and science fiction. Those are the two genres that they mainly focus on. So if you read horror, there's no way you're ever going to, or take back, there's a very good chance you're never going to encounter somebody attacking the genre of horror and all that. Now, there have been some horror books that have been banned, but they're mainly from Stephen King, even though all bans are not good. But yeah, so that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be mainly focusing on horror and cozy mysteries, and take a huge break from fantasy. So yeah, it sucks, it really does, because there are a lot of fantasy books that I have been wanting to read, but I just need to get away from that and just fill my shelves up with something else. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Bye.